friend Hap has been living with cancer for 15 years. It started in his lungs and moved to his brain. And he has good days and bad days. Last summer, he cut down a massive tree on my property and dropped it perfectly right next to the river. And other days, he has a hard time walking across the room. I don't know whether he's too ornery or too wily for death's taste, but he has managed to hang on during this wild ride on this beast we call cancer. Whenever a new treatment is proposed, he says things like, "Would you put money in the meter if you weren't going to park there?"
Why would you water a dead plant?
And that laugh, he laughs at himself, at us, and the medical profession. Oh, he'll do some things, but not others. But he talks about it. His dying is like a cup that he passes around, talking freely and sharing. He is rare. He is very, very rare. Several years back, my dear friend Elizabeth was diagnosed with stage 4 uterine cancer. And we got every surviving cancer book we can find and lit dozens of candles and sat in her living room and started reading to each other. This one says she was cured with a macrobiotic diet. Oh no, this one says a raw diet. Oh, here's the one who went to Mexico and had stem cell. Elizabeth says quietly, I wonder if cancer is just a manifestation of my negative thoughts, and I brought this on myself. Dogs and babies die of cancer, I say, and I'm sure they don't have too many negative thoughts. I don't want her blaming herself. She gasps as she says, oh my gosh, this one says candles are carcinogenic. We blow out every candle in the room and sit in the darkness. Every one of these surviving cancer books begins the same way. I was given X amount of days, months, years to live, and here I am, Y years later, cancer-free, and here is my secret. I am happy for these people, but it occurs to me that the dead don't write much. Perhaps they are storyless because as fearful people, we only want to hear about those who have supposedly won. Because from the beginning, it is set up as a battle with cancer patients as unwilling heroes or heroines who are told if you are only smart enough or resourceful enough or use the right medicines, you too will prevail. Well, I tell Hap about the surviving cancer books. And he says, well, you can sit around and talk about how the horse got out of the barn.
Or you can get out there and catch the goddamn horse.
Oh, we want to catch the goddamn horse. We do not want to do nothing. But when we look up, we find that the horse is well into the next county and picking up speed. And so we pledge our allegiance collectively to the flag of Elizabeth not dying. The medical cavalry is enlisted. Strategies are outlined. A battalion of chemicals are summoned. And there we are galloping along, all of us, saying we believe because we are at war. But from the very first moment, it is a brutal battle in which in round after round of surgery, they cut out pieces of her body. In round after round of life-sapping chemicals, she's given chemo. And with each treatment, we have hope, and then we have the death of hope. And we want to win, which of course means we want more time. But no one stops to ask, time for what? Time for more medicines, more surgeries, more side effects from the medicines and the surgeries, more medicines to counteract the side effects of the medicines and the surgeries and the side effect medicines. Oh, I know that for some who come through with health and healing, but for Elizabeth, it quite simply meant more suffering. Living with the inevitability of dying in a culture that only values not dying is difficult for so many reasons. She couldn't walk her dogs. or do her beloved work, or even share a meal with her husbands. But more importantly was psychologically, she felt like she was failing, and we felt like we were failing her. One night I was sitting next to her by the fire, and I said, "Do you think you're dying?" And she said, "No, I'm going to figure this out." And of course, my friend is one of the smartest people I've ever met, so I have to believe her. And to not believe her is treason. Well, she and we do not sit well with her dying. And with each procedure, we're going to catch that horse. And we gallop on with our flags of faith and love. And we believe lying. To not do so would be treason. And right before us, our loved one is dying. She can't control her bowels or her bladder. In the end, she had a tumor perforating her vaginal wall, fluids coming out of every southbound orifice. Her body was finished. One day before she died, I said, "Do you think you're dying?" And she said, "No." After getting very agitated and sitting up and announcing that she was going on a trip and that she needed to pack, she died. Her eyebrows in quizzical arches, her mouth in a perfect O of surprise. And these are the last things I saw on her features as the mortuary men zipped up the white bag over her face. It had been one brutal year from diagnosis to death. Did Elizabeth fail by dying? Did Hap succeed by living? How hard is it to die? We see it as a failure, when of course it is not. We see it as a weakness of character, which of course it is not. And we see it as a bad ending to an unfinished story, which truthfully I'm still having a hard time with. Instead of coming together, which is in one of the most fundamental rites of passage, which is dying, we spend our time refusing to die, praying for more time, being hopeful, managing symptom after symptom, never speaking of the death, even though it is what we are all thinking, for fear of inviting it into our homes, being scared, really scared. Where is Hap's cup? Where is the ability to talk freely about something that's happening to all of us and seeing it as a companion that is walking us home? Our society has declared a war on death, and it has become a moral imperative to fight it. And of course, in this model, in the end, we are all losers. So please don't say my friend didn't make it, or succumbed to cancer, or lost the battle. Perhaps she did make it, and is in some green pasture somewhere with her arm extended, offering a handful of grain to that horse that we were trying so desperately to catch. Knowing my friend, that's exactly what she would be doing.